What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Turnbuckle Topics podcast. I'm your host, Pat Deneen, alongside my co-host of the Raw Review, Justin. And this right here, well, this is the Royal Rumble Prediction Show. What's going on, my man?
What is going on, everybody? If it starts with an R and an R, we're going to talk about it. Whether it be the Royal Rumble, the Raw Review, Rhea Ripley, Ronda Rousey,
Roman
I'm here
Reigns.
for it.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns. It's a lot
Raquel
of R's going on.
Rodriguez. Yeah, a lot of.
It's all over.
You know what's a shame? That there's no longer Ruby Riott. Damn it.
Mm,
Hey, look, I just made perhaps one of the most delicious pots of coffee.
okay,
You drink coffee?
I do occasionally. I dabble.
I see you got a sweet tea over there.
I do. McDonald's. I love sweet tea. So I didn't like sweet tea until I moved to the South
Mm-hmm.
because it was always like lemon, lemon black tea, whatever, like brisk or Snapple, whatever. You come to the South, that's all they have. It's sweet tea everywhere. So I kind of just evolved.
Just the way of life over there. All right, so look, you got your sweet tea. I got my coffee. We're ready to go here. Now, this here is
Yeah.
the 36th Royal Rumble. It's the fourth one to be held in San Antonio, Texas. Specifically,
Oh wow.
the third one in the Alamo Dome. One of them, the one in 2007, was held in the AT&T Center. And this is the sixth overall Royal Rumble that's held in Texas. So
Okay.
there was two held in Houston, Texas, in 1989 and 2020. And of course, San Antonio, Texas was 97, 2007, 2017, and now 2023. Do you remember? I'm gonna give you the years. I'm gonna put you on the spot here.
Uh,
Do you remember
I knew
any?
this was gonna happen.
Yeah, this I didn't go over with you prior to the show. I gotta pop
I
quiz
love
you,
it.
brother.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go chronologically speaking. We're gonna go with the one
Yeah.
in Houston, Texas, Royal Rumble in 1989 at the Summit. Do you know who won that?
Okay. 1989. That was the second one.
Yeah, yeah. So Hacksaw Jim Duggan won the first, and yeah, this is. I know it's a little before your
Was
time.
Let's see. Ric Flair was 92,
Hmm
89.
It's not. I'll give you a hint. It's not a typical name. It's not one that's going to roll off the tongue. You're going to have to think a little
Yeah.
bit. I'll give you one hint. I'll give you one
Okay.
hint. It was a big man.
Oh, it was a big man. Was he
Hmm
Yokozuna?
No, it was Big John Studd.
Big John Stud.
Big
Okay.
John Studd. Okay, I'm going to give you the other five, if that's all right, or the other four
Okay.
rather.
Let's do it.
Let's
Let's see
go
how good I am.
chronologically speaking. Let's hop over to 1997, the first one that took place in San Antonio at the Alamo Dome. Do you remember who won in '97?
Austin.
That's right. Very good. And 2007 at the AT&T Center.
Batista?
That was The Undertaker.
The Undertaker. Okay.
Yep.
Batista was 2009.
I believe that's correct. We'll fact check that after, but I think you're right. 2017, the last time they were in San Antonio at the Alamo Dome.
2017. Okay. Reigns?
The Viper, Randy Orton.
Oh, okay. Randy Orton. Okay. Is that when he turned on Bray Wyatt?
No, I think that was ye- that's a good question. I know 2017 was the year of their storyline. That may have been. I know it definitely happened in
Okay.
2017, so you might be right there. And of course, at Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas in 2020.
2020 was Edge. No, no, I'm lying. No, 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 no. Drew.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Not bad, not bad, not bad.
Not
And
bad.
and of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention San Antonio, Texas, being the home of the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. He is a two-time winner of the Royal Rumble in both 1995 and
95,
1996.
96.
Yep, back to back. There was a lot of back to backs. Austin,
Austin.
and because he won the next 2 years, 97, 98.
Yep.
Lot of Texas winners in back to
Yeah.
back Texas winners. All right, so look, what match are you looking forward to most out of this whole pay per view event or this premium live event?
Um, the men's Royal Rumble.
Okay.
It's always like it's always the match that you're looking forward to. I mean,
Mhm.
even if it sucks, some of it's got to be good.
Last year sucked.
Yeah, it was so bad.
Last year was probably the worst men's rumble in ages, and everybody was blaming Shane McMahon, and then like a couple
Hmm.
days later, whether that was the truth or not, they fired him or let him go.
Yep.
So hey, whoever was in charge of that, we know it wasn't Triple H. He was still nursing himself back to good health last year. So now that
It was
he's
Shane.
back, it was
Shane
solely
booked the Royal
Shane.
Rumble last year.
All right, so he does deserve every bit of criticism he got then, huh?
Absolutely.
Well, Trips is back, so it's going to be good. We know that much. Um, Look, let's start off with the men's Royal Rumble. You good with that?
Okay.
Are you ready and rocking?
Dude, let's do it.
Ready to roll here? So the
Absolutely.
men's Royal Rumble. We have a lot of ways we could discuss this. We have a few topics we went over prior to the show. I want to talk about the last 5 years real quick, though. I want to go over the men and the women here, and I noticed some trends. So we're gonna go back to 2018. That was the first women's Royal Rumble as well in Philadelphia. I was looking at who, the probabilities of who wins the most and such with said numbers. So in 2018, Shinsuke won at the number 14 spot. Asuka won at 25. 19, Seth won at 10. Becky 28. Drew 16. Charlotte 17 in 2020. Then we had Edge at 1. Bianca at 3 in 2021. And then last year, of course, we had Brock at 30 and Ronda at 28. So I noticed just in the last 5 years, we have Becky and Ronda who both won at the 28th spot. Obviously, by default, that's the luckiest number for the women. I look here at the men, and the best and luckiest number for the men is 27, as you already knew. 4 winners: Big John Studd, Yokozuna, Bret Hart, and Stone Cold won at that spot. In the last 3 years, particularly, I noticed, which was very interesting to me, opposed to 2018 and 2019, is Charlotte Flair and Drew McIntyre, who both won in 2020, were just one digit away, 17-16. Stay with me here. Bianca in 21 won at the 3, Edge won at the 1, 2 digits away. And the following year, 2022, Ronda was 28, Brock was 30. Again, just 2 digits away. When you go all the way back to Asuka and Becky, Shinsuke and Seth, that was not the trend at all. They were 11 away and 18 away. But I did notice amongst the women in 2018 and 2019, I know your head's probably spinning as well as everybody listening to this, then I want you to have the floor here, but Asuka was 25, Becky was 28. So the women were close within that year. And then Shinsuke was 14 and Seth was 10. So they were only 4 away. So I noticed they went from a trend 4 or 5 years ago where the women both won in similar spots, right? And then it seems like the last 3 years, they've had the collective champions or winners of the Royal Rumble, rather, be in close proximity of the numbers they came out. What school of thought do you think this year we're going to see at the Royal Rumble? Do you think they stay with that for the 4th year where, say, somebody comes out at 17 and someone's out at 15, and those are both the said winners? Or do you think that's no longer going to be a factor like 2018 and 2019?
Funny thing is, I had both my winners coming out at 14. There's something about the number 14 that that always resonated with me, and I know 14 has won it. I don't think they're going to put my winner of the men's early. I think they're going to put him more middle to save surprises towards the end. But okay. I was going to put him at 27, and that's probably my second choice, to have him at 27. But I think it's too close to the other 4 people that are going to come in. And I think that, anywhere from 25 to 30 is going to be a huge surprise. So I kind of put him to be in the midst of everything, just because of the road that he's going to go through, to no pun intended.
Who is your winner for the men's Royal Rumble this
year?
Cody Rhodes.
I think we talked about on the Raw review. I just don't think it makes sense for anybody else to win.
He's the favorite by a long shot.
He's the favorite. Yeah. I feel like if he doesn't win, the storytelling has to be immaculate behind it. And that's the only thing I could think of. Outside of that, I think it's Cody's to lose as opposed to Cody's to win. I think it's his match to lose.
Now, here's another side of looking at things. Say Cody does not win, regardless if he's down to the final 4, final 3, whatever that may be. Do you think if Cody does not win and whoever is to eliminate him, that doesn't end up winning the whole thing, right? Let's say he's not in the final 2. Excuse me. Down to a final 3, 4, 5, whatever. Do you think that whoever eliminates Cody, if they're not going to put him in a title contention spot, I know that's not what you're thinking right now, but if they're not going to put him in that spot at WrestleMania against Reigns or whatever, do you think that said person who eliminates him is his feud going into Mania? Do you see any percentage of that?
Absolutely. It's just, the thing about that is there's nothing that really makes sense to me. When he came back, his feud was with Rollins. That's the only feud he's known. There's no build up to anything else.
It would be brand new. It would be fresh.
It would be fresh. So that's why I think that, he could lose, and then he doesn't win again until SummerSlam or something.
Sure.
maybe him getting injured hinders him to have to push it out further to give more of a storyline, to give him another feud under his belt before he fights Reigns. Um, but other than that, I mean, like I said, I don't see it making sense for anybody else outside of maybe Sami Zayn. Outside of that, no one else would make sense to go up against Roman. So yeah, I got Cody coming in at 14, and I have him winning it all.
All right, he's the obvious favorite. It's been like that. On you could date it back as far as to June, July, right? When he went out with the injury, and
Yeah.
it's been rehabbing ever since. So, and honestly, as I mentioned to you and numerous other people on the podcast, that was my favorite to win, and he very well still may for a while. I'm not sold on it just yet. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I do think at number 30, The Rock is going to show up, and I could care less from a fan standpoint, but I have this funny feeling that that they've been throwing us off here. Oh, he's not ready with the conditioning bit and all that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a match that the people, maybe not himself. I know he wants to fight Roman at some point, but it's a match that people have been discussing for well over a year now. And they're like, what if he's still champion? Or even if, like me and you said, he doesn't even have to be champion to fight Roman for this lineage, this Samoan lineage match. So
Mm-hmm.
I think The Rock shows up in the very last spot, comes in, wins, and that's it. And then we have it catapults it right to the road to WrestleMania. So that's where I see fit. Again, Cody, he's been tweeting a lot lately. Even just a week ago, he wrote "Finish the Story," obviously becoming WWE champion, as he's mentioned. So again, if I wasn't picking The Rock, I'd outright be picking who I thought for the last several months would win, Cody Rhodes. I have a sneaky suspicion that The Rock is going to appear in San Antonio and win.
I am not mad at that. It's so my whole thing about it is, as much as I would love to see The Rock, I mean, having him win is one thing, but seeing him would obviously be electric, no pun intended. But I think more or less, it's just like, how do you build that storyline for the next 3 months? Like, how often is he going to be on TV? Like, how open is his schedule? Because there's so much more to the storyline. We can't just be like, oh, he won the Royal Rumble, let's see him at WrestleMania. Like, I feel
I
like there has to be
think,
more in between.
to be honest with you, I think, you look at it like this. He wins the Rumble on the 28th, let's just say hypothetically, and you really only got 2 months to get through. Yeah, February and March.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he's not appearing at Elimination Chamber. It's April, what, 1st and 2nd? So it's really just 2 months they got to get through. And although that is a long time, eight plus weeks or so, I feel like a lot of this will be done through video packages. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like we're going to get that every third week appearance. One week Roman shows up, the next week The Rock shows up, and they're not going to butt heads probably until very close to the pay per view. I think they'll still be able to build it. I get what you're saying, but
Mm-hmm.
I think it's totally doable. We know everything about The Rock. We know a ton about Roman, good, bad, and different, and the amazing 2+ years he's had as champion.
Oh
But
yeah.
that I could see that happening. And to be honest with you, I didn't make my final decision until last night. I was still like, I think Cody Rhodes is a shoe-in. However, I don't know. I'm a little reluctant, as you mentioned. You'd put him in the match later. You wouldn't have him fight like Bianca Belair from a 3 spot to win it, especially coming back
Yeah.
from an injury. He's been out, a significant pectoral injury. It's been 6+ months. So I don't know. I feel like, and then the weight of being champion too, because if he goes up against Roman, maybe not the first time, but I would assume like by the second time, maybe he'd eventually win the championship, and then you take on that leadership role. You're the face of the company, so you got to be, I don't know, fighting a lot at least initially, and
Mm-hmm.
then you might be able to lower your schedule like Roman has over the last several months where he's had a reduced schedule. I don't know. I
Yeah.
just feel like it's a lot for Cody right now with the return of the injury.
No, I can see that. No, and that makes sense too. I guess like it's just one of those things where you kind of want the obvious person to win, but if something does happen, I mean, just make it make sense for
Yeah.
WrestleMania because this is the tipping point.
Yeah, it is. It is. Personally, I mean, we'll see what happens with the titles. If Roman drops one of them to whom, who knows? But I'm kind of leaning towards, as long as Cody can remain healthy and get back in the swing of things, I would love to see Cody take the title, namely off of Roman at SummerSlam. I think that would be great. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think this is something that goes all the way till next year, and he redeems
Yeah,
himself at
no.
WrestleMania 40. But I think it would be something that could definitely happen as early as before the end of the summer. All right, so why don't we hop over to this? Actually, you know what? Before we hop into this women's Royal Rumble match, why don't you tell me a few things here? Why don't we start off with what's one hopeful return or surprise you would like to see on the men's side of things in the Royal Rumble?
A return I would like to see.
Yeah, one or two, whoever comes to mind who's been out for a while.
I mean,
Like for
the obvious one is definitely Cody. I mean, I'm
yeah.
very excited to see him back. I'm very excited to see him back. And I mean, another good one I could take from one of the. I know we were talking about four non-contracted wrestlers, but to see someone come back, I wouldn't mind seeing Eric Young. There's a lot of talk about him coming back, and if we're really going into it, I actually have all of Sanity coming back. I have
Okay.
Alexander Wolf and Killian Dane coming back as well.
Oh, that
I would
that
love to
those
see
that's a good
Sanity
one.
come. Yeah, those are three of my four non-contracted wrestlers that I was gonna pick to come back.
Hmm.
That's why I said I can like do it all in one. But I
Sure.
see Sanity coming back. Spread out definitely. I could see Eric Young probably coming in the mid 20s. You see a Killian Dane maybe at like a 5 or a 6.
Hmm.
Alexander Wolf is probably the one that people aren't as familiar with,
Yeah.
and I could see him coming in the teens, something like that.
Got to remember, he also spent some time with Imperium before he actually technically left. He was with the original
Yeah.
Imperium. He was the fourth member with them at least a year plus in NXT, NXT UK, and stuff. So, I might have confused with that. I'm going to go over that too, as far as like, people who aren't currently signed. I was alluding to people that are actually signed to the company that were out because of
Okay.
injury or illness and stuff like that.
Mm.
I had a couple that came to mind. Randy Orton, I would love to see. I don't think he's ready, but I'd love to see Randy Orton.
Yeah, me neither.
And
But
he's been out since WrestleMania. I'd love to see the return of Rick Boogs. He's been training. He's been back in
oh
the swing
yeah.
of things. Back in the swing of things. I think he's obviously entertaining as hell. I think he's a pretty good wrestler too. There was actually he has a
Hmm.
YouTube series, Start of a Massive Comeback, where Rick Boogs performed some heavy deadlifts to the famous Rocky Balboa "Gonna Fly Now" theme. And so hey, look, we could very well see him too. Looks like he's ready.
Love it. I'd
All
love to
right.
see it. I miss him.
Yeah, no, he was him and Shinsuke were a great duo. I mean, they had Pat McAfee on the top of the commentary table every Friday on SmackDown. They were
Oh yeah.
great. All right, so you were talking
Another
about
return I wouldn't mind seeing.
yeah, Pat. I love a lot of people have been
Pat,
buzzing on the
yeah.
internet.
That
Love to hear his commentary at the Rumble.
no, I'd like to see him in the Rumble.
I'd like to see him in the Rumble. That's a good one. Is
Yeah.
is that your celebrity pick or no?
No, my celebrity pick's Logan Paul.
Okay, I was gonna say too. Logan Paul to me is a shoe in. I think he's definitely going in. I was like Logan Paul, Bad Bunny,
Yeah.
one of them are definitely going in. Logan Paul more so. I'm going to hop over to my celebrity pick then, since we're on the topic.
Okay.
I'm going to go with, I'll go with the men's first, I guess, since you did. I'm going to go with Cody Rhodes' good friend, Stephen Amell from Arrow. Was at SummerSlam 2015,
Hmm.
also at the 2018 All In event that the
Hmm.
Elite put together and stuff like that. Again, Cody Rhodes was involved with that. But after Cody Rhodes announced that he was going to be in the Royal Rumble, Stephen Amell went on and tweeted, "I'm going to be in the house for the Royal Rumble. Why? Because my guy is back. Hashtag Rhodes to Rumble." So of course, Amell wrestled at SummerSlam 2015, teaming up with now known as Pac in AEW. What is it? He's with Death Triangle,
Hmm.
formerly known as Neville. Defeated Cody
Neville.
Rhodes as Stardust and Wade Barrett. So he's yeah, you got it down right. You just need the gloves. Tell me you got the gloves. You don't have the gloves. It's all right. Next time.
Nah, imagine.
Early birthday gift. I'll send over for you. He's obviously going to be in the building. I think he might even be in the Royal Rumble. Why not? He actually can wrestle. He's not one of these people
Yeah.
that are just like Drew Carey showing up. He could go just like Logan Paul. Maybe not to
He has
the
a show.
yeah. I mean, not to the extent of Logan Paul. Logan Paul is definitely leaps and bounds above most of these celebrities. But the last few celebrities WWE has brought on, I gotta give them kudos to them. Bad Bunny and Logan Paul, back-to-back WrestleManias, did their thing. I think they surpassed everybody's
Hmm.
expectations. I want to take it back even further, like you
Easily.
said, Pat McAfee, also incredible in the ring. Hopefully he's there too.
Oh yeah.
Good way to
I hope so.
reintroduce him. So as
Definitely.
far as the we'll go over the women's, I guess, once we get to the women's rumble, right? So let's knock out all the
Hmm.
men's stuff here. Who do you see
Yeah.
being in the men's Royal Rumble as far as a couple of NXT stars? Who do you got?
I picked Carmelo Hayes and Wesley. Um, I think Carmelo Hayes is
Interesting.
about to come to the main roster.
Hmm.
Um, and I think, they always showcase a champion. I don't think it's going to be Braun Breaker. I think it's going to be Wesley, showcase the North American title. Yeah, I like that for them. I like Carmelo Hayes and Wesley to be the NXT call ups, possibly a JD McDonough.
That's a good one. I did consider JD McDonough. I'll be honest with you. I went with Grayson Waller. I know he's currently feuding with Braun Breaker. I went with Grayson Waller,
Hmm.
and I too went with Carmelo Hayes. Those are my two. I'll give a couple close honorable mentions because they were in the discussion. Outside of JD McDonough, Wesley's a good one, but I did go with. I was considering at 3 and 4 Cameron Grimes and also Von Wagner. Von Wagner is just a big guy who seems to. I don't know how familiar you are with him, but he's improved immensely over the last year and a half. Um,
Hmm.
so Von Wagner, I could definitely see them throwing a big man in there, getting a couple people eliminated, and I think Cameron Grimes is in the discussion too. I don't know who he's currently feuding with on NXT, but I could also see him being called up soon, as well as Carmelo Hayes.
Hmm. I couldn't agree more. I like that.
Let's move over to one WWE Hall of Famer that you could see in the Royal Rumble. Who do you got?
Well, he was supposed to be at Raw, but he missed it because of his son's wrestling tournament. I'm gonna go with Tatanka.
Tatanka. Look, and don't get me wrong, I like Tatanka. I've met him before. I loved him growing up. I had his action figure, everything. I'd run around the house doing the whole shtick. That's back-to-back episodes. You mentioned Tatanka. I think we're gonna
I
have to
love
try to
him.
get him on the Turnbuckle Topics podcast, and
Uh, I fanboy so hard. Who you got?
I gotta go with Booker T. I, you know,
Okay. Ooh,
uh,
I like that.
he's expressed interest for months now. He's ready to get in the ring. He's been wrestling at his own promotion, a reality of wrestling out there in Texas. So that I didn't even think of that until now. It's in Texas. So I really think we'll see Booker T in there. I really do.
I would love that. Like just hearing, "Can you dig it, sucker?"
Yeah, I would pop for that. I would definitely jump right off the couch and you can do
Definitely
it.
get a big pop.
You would do a spin a Rooney, I think, if you saw him. You'd probably be so excited. Get the right amount of sweet tea in you, and you're gonna be.
Yeah, a couple sweet teas, maybe a brisk.
Listen, don't make me call the police. You'll be next to Dominic Mysterio, all right?
Next calm down. That's who really should win.
Let's talk about some potential non WWE talent slash Forbidden Door. I came up with three. You might have had more than that. Uh, let's see what you got.
I got Jay White. I think Jay White is the one name that I've been I've been really hoping for
Hmm.
because I think that could be the state that could set the stage for things to come. So I'm definitely gonna go Jay White. But my biggest forbidden door actually is Will Osprey.
Oh, that's
I would
Will Ospreay's a really good
I
one.
would yeah, that's who I would love to see. That's who I'm hoping to see. There were rumors probably around 6 months ago they dropped like what they said was like a um a spoiler for who was coming out, and Will Ospreay's name was on there. And it got me thinking. I mean, he has worked with AEW, but I mean, he's been New Japan for however long. Um, I think the working relation. I think New Japan is very open to working with both promotions to kind of keep it fresh. Um, so I'm gonna go. I definitely like Will Ospreay, and outside of that, Matt Cardona. I
Okay,
think
so
Matt Cardona. I think he's a free agent though, but I think Matt Cardona, and we'll get into it when we talk about the women's match. But I think Matt Cardona will be back. I think he's actually out of the three of them, he's the one I think is the most likely to come back.
I think that's a very good choice. You said that's the most likely of scenarios. Matt Cardona, formerly known as Zack Ryder, he's been again another guy like Cody Rhodes, very active on Twitter as far as like throwing out little zingers here and potential like what if I return. I think if they are bringing him back, whether it's a one off, especially if it's just this one time, hopefully they re-sign him.
Mm-hmm.
They need to bring him back as Matt Cardona because he's done such a
Yeah.
good job the last year and a half, 2 years, redefining, rebuilding himself into this heel character. GCW, he's going up against Nick Gage, and all these
Mm-hmm.
insane matches he's been doing and doing a great job at that, becoming a multi-time champion in numerous promotions. So I think they got to let him be Matt Cardona, let him be a heel, and let's see this other side of him that Zack Ryder wasn't able to present. He had handcuffs on, so to speak. He was in a box. Now anything goes.
Mm-hmm.
So the other day he wrote WWW YKI. You know what that means? Woo woo woo. You know.
Woo woo woo. Yeah, you know it.
So
I
also
would love at
teasing a
least
Zack
one
Ryder bit.
woo woo woo. Woo woo woo.
I
I
think
miss it.
you're gonna have to add that to your soundboard now, along with all the others. So
Oh gosh, make me work.
you're gonna be doing overtime. I know we're gonna have to do a pay increase here. Really dig into the budget. Jay White, another one you mentioned. He's also referenced WWE quite a bit this year on Twitter in regards to the return of the OC. The Good Brothers
Mhm.
coming back on that season premiere back in October, and there's been a few other times that he's done that, and he's hashtagged WWE Raw. So seeing that leads you to believe he's even if he didn't currently have a good working relationship, he's talking to somebody in WWE outside of just his friends. So I
Mhm.
think in that order specifically, we see a Matt Cardona. I think we're going to see Jay White. And my third and final is Nick Aldis. That's the one I've been saying more
Yeah.
so than anybody for months, especially
Mhm.
since NWA and him parted ways. His wife came back in the Rumble last year, Mickey James. We'll get to that in a little bit, the women's side of things. So I think this makes perfect sense. Those three, I really do. I think at minimum we're going to see at least two out of the three, but I think these ones are pretty spot on. I like the I don't want to call it a long shot, but I do like the bold pick of Will Ospreay. That would be awesome to see. In my opinion, out of the four names we mentioned, I think that's the least likely of scenarios. I think that one would surprise everybody more than an all discard
Yeah.
or White, because that would be left field. Like, whoa, Will Ospreay, he just had an amazing match at Wrestle Kingdom 17 just a month ago, not
Mhm.
even earlier this month with Kenny Omega. So that would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah. The thing about Will Ospreay that I love is how parallel he is to Ricochet. And if they're gonna do something, I would love it to be those two in the ring because you
Hmm.
could go back at like you could look on YouTube at the history that they've had, and it's just action, high flying after high flyer. So, yeah, Will Ospreay is my long shot. He's been my forbidden door for a while now. Um, yeah, and I'm really hopeful that it happens. If it doesn't, I hope that at some point he ends up in the WWE. I know he had that short stint with that rivalry on AEW,
Hmm.
so I guess we'll see. But I am excited to see what happens.
Speaking of Ricochet, do you know he was part Irish?
No.
Yeah, Rick O'Shea. Yeah, just in case you didn't know that. Anyway, Justin, you need a few minutes after he needed a sip of sweet tea after that one. Hey, look, so here's some of the entrants in the Royal Rumble, and I think that pretty much will wrap up our discussion on the men's Rumble. We're going to see Omos, Santos Escobar, Sheamus, Lashley, Rick O'Shea, Seth Rollins, Rey Mysterio, your boy Cody Rhodes, Baron Corbin, Austin Theory, Kofi Kingston, Gunther, Braun Strowman, Karrion Kross, and Drew McIntyre. As of this podcast, that is all that they have announced. Again, we have a few people in mind as far as surprises, returns, call ups, even if it's for the night for NXT. So,
Mhm.
is there anything else as far as the men's Rumble before we get going to the women's Rumble that you would like to mention?
I have a question for you. All right, ready? So, who do you think is going to have more eliminations, Gunther or Solo Sikoa? Even though you didn't mention him, I think Solo will be in the Royal Rumble. It's
Yeah,
between those two.
I could see him showing up in the Rumble. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people talk about, oh, Solo Sikoa is going to break the record for most eliminations. Oh no, it's going to be Gunther. Who do you got? Who's going to have more eliminations? And give me a number.
Mm, okay, so that's a good one. I think Gunther. I think Gunther.
Okay.
Solo's obviously capable, but I think Gunther has. And to be honest with you, I don't even know if either of them are going to have the most that night. I think it's going to be somebody unlikely that's going to have the most eliminations, but they're definitely going to be in the conversation. I could see Gunther having about three or four eliminations. I see Solo at minimum having two, two to three. But yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
Gunther edges him out. I could see that. Definitely could see that. Um, Now SmackDown tonight, by the way, you know it's in Laredo, Texas. It's well on its way to a sellout. There's under when I read the article, there was under 700 tickets remaining. So I think hell, I don't even know if
We
there's
should.
any more left. You want to go?
Yeah, we out. Let's go.
All right, we're gonna wrap this up early. Let's get
All
over
right,
there.
guys.
All right, later.
I'll call Jeremy.
All right, cool. Oh yeah, he's right there, right there. How far is he from there?
Not close.
All right, well, it sounded good. He could take a flight too.
Yeah, right.
I got to refer back to that tweet from the Undertaker at Raw 30. Remember, he tweeted out moments define the industry. This one was special. The next day, Bray Wyatt, or I think it was even after that, it might have even been Wednesday. Anyway, Bray Wyatt went to go and say, "This moment justified a lifetime of sacrifices for me, a lifetime of people treating my uniqueness like it was a disease. Through all the bad times, I never changed myself to fit anyone's narrative. I'm proud of that. Thank you, Taker." And then the Undertaker, tweeted back, "Respect is earned," with an exclamation point. I love the relationship and just the sheer honesty from Bray Wyatt. When Bray Wyatt posted this, by the way, he posted a picture of the two of them face to face, obviously Monday night, and then a picture of them at WrestleMania 31 where they had a match. I
Hmm.
think this is so cool. I think it goes beyond the realm of two darker characters in WWE. Not only has this helped Bray Wyatt's confidence, I mean, obviously that's confirmation right there. Bray Wyatt is just such a seemingly a great person, and I'm so happy to see him in the proper state of mind going forward. What did you think about all that?
I think it's like, yeah, I mean, you touched on it. You nailed it on the head. I think it's so good for the sport to really showcase a passing of the torch, as you will. Um, Bray's really done the work, and and you could allude to kind of what happened to Drew McIntyre. Like he got brought up, people loved him, they loved what was going on. He got released. Triple H was like, "No, we got to bring him back. There's something about him. There's something worthwhile about him." They give him his creative. They let him be as creative as he is. He's a great mind for the supernatural to a point where it's palatable. You know what I mean? He's not over the top, not like crazy. I think the original Fiend run had some of that, and I feel like that was kind of McMahon kind of putting in his 2 cents and not really giving him his whole creative outlook on things. I think this is going to be done a little bit differently. I think it's going to storytell, and when we get into the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match prediction, I could speak more on it. But as
Sure.
for the moment shared, like I said on our last show, I think it was a passing of the torch, and he really just whispered in his ear, like, "Listen, you got the juice now, man. Like, take your character and run with it. It's Supernatural is what brought me to relevance for all these years, and I see the same with you." And even so, like, I was listening. I don't know if it was you who said it or I was reading an interview, but like the Undertaker told Vince, he was like, "Yo, you need to take care of this guy. Like, you
Yeah.
need to take care of Bray Wyatt. Like, he's someone who I respect, and no one's word holds more weight than the Undertaker, especially in Vince's eyes." So, great moment, and like I said, an amazing passing of the torch. And I hope this continues for years to come. Just let him be his creative self. Work alongside Triple H, another great wrestling mind, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, Undertaker calls it like he sees it, right? And he's not going to beat around the bush at all. And he sees something in Bray Wyatt. I think most of us do. And Bray Wyatt has every time he's on to something good, somebody, there's a major fork in the road with creative plans. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the most frustrating thing for anybody in pro wrestling, but especially when you have the mind of Bray Wyatt, where it's so complex and there's
Mm-hmm.
so many layers to it that he's finally able to uh, let that unfold the last 3 months. So good for them. I thought that was a beautiful moment. All right, Justin. So let's get into this women's Royal Rumble, shall we?
Let's do this.
So there's been a lot less women mentioned as far as who's in it already, opposed to the men. The men had
Mm-hmm.
what they probably mentioned half the field, whereas the women it's probably
Mm-hmm.
not even been a quarter of that. So some of the women we have in this Royal Rumble match is Emma, Shayna Baszler, Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Raquel Rodriguez, Candice LeRae, and Zelina Vega. Now I know at minimum there's at least two women here that have never participated in the Women's Royal Rumble. That is Emma, and who actually got released before they had their first ever in 2018, and
Mm-hmm.
now Raquel Rodriguez, who is on the main roster and going to be in the Rumble for the very first time. Candice LeRae, I'm not sure if she had made an entrance been an entrant rather. Obviously, last year she was pregnant, but in
Mm-hmm.
2021 or 2020, I don't know if she was brought up at any point in time. Well, I know Zelina Vega's been in it, Rhea Ripley's been in it, Liv Morgan and Shayna, they're definitely in it. So, nonetheless, we have those seven women announced.
Mm-hmm.
let's just get right to it, and then we'll talk about NXT, Hall of Famers, celebrity, and so on. Who do you see winning the Women's Royal Rumble?
I got Rhea Ripley.
Okay.
I'm taking Rhea Ripley to win it. Her momentum's just there, you know. They're really showing her as a powerhouse. I think it's going to be her and Raquel Rodriguez as the last two. I think Raquel Rodriguez is really going to show out, but I think that doesn't always equate to winning. I can see her, you know, eliminating a lot. Her just showing off being a powerhouse. But I got Rhea Ripley winning it all.
What number did you say Rhea Ripley's going to win at? 14?
14. 14, yep.
All right, we're not too far off here, Justin. We're not too far off, and I want to see if for the third consecutive year, can I get both the men's and women's Royal Rumble correct? We're gonna see.
Okay.
It all started with Edge and Bianca. Of course, we had the two UFC people last year, Brock and Ronda, and on a whim, the safer choices is what you're going with, honestly, which makes a lot of sense. Cody Rhodes, Rhea Ripley. I am going with The Rock, but I too am going to go with Rhea Ripley at number 11.
I
Number
like
11.
11.
Yeah,
11's not talked about a lot.
it's not. Yeah, I don't know the exact statistics. If anybody's ever even won at 11, I know not in the women's rumble at
Mhm.
least. I don't know about the men's, but yeah, I'm thinking 11, just after the single digits. I don't see her being in that first 10, obviously, but I think immediately following
Mhm.
that, she'll find a way to make it through at the very end. I mean,
I like it.
back in 2021, the final two were Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley, right? Now, I don't know what
Hmm.
number Rhea came in that year. It was definitely after Bianca. Bianca was 3, but nonetheless, I know she was in there for a while. So,
Hmm.
so Rhea
Yeah, I
Ripley it
definitely
is.
like that choice. Yeah, we got Rhea Ripley finally. We're
We're on the
even
same
keel.
page. We're on the same. It's almost like our predictions for 2022. Remember, what was it like? With the exception maybe two premium live events, we had like the same picks for almost every match. It was getting crazy.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be the same. Even though it's only 5 matches, I feel like this might be the only one that. Nah, I feel like we'll agree on one more.
All right, that's fair. So Rhea Ripley is for now.
Yeah,
Something about those four-letter R words. I think that's where we're going this year. We're going Rock and we're going Rhea. That's where I think we're headed there. Now the funny thing is, we were just talking about the Undertaker, Michelle McCool, who by
hmm
the way, her birthday was this past Wednesday. Happy birthday to her. She tweeted recently, sadly, I wasn't asked this year. It is near my home, so we'll probably still be there, just wandering aimlessly in the audience. Now, I don't know if you knew about that. I find that to be very odd. She's a two-time women's champion,
yeah,
two-time Divas champion, one half of Lake Cool. That's weird. And she's been in at least two or three of them. She looks great.
yeah.
Looks great.
hmm
So, what are your thoughts? Is Michelle McCool somebody you would have liked to see in the Rumble?
Yeah, it's all. I mean, the thing about the women's Royal Rumble is they always bring back. This is where you see the legends. This is where you see the surprises. This is where you see, you know, because they're still trying to make it fresh. They have so many years to catch up on.
Yeah.
So they really want to make it captivating to the audience. You know, this is the reason why we decided to finally do a women's Royal Rumble.
Hmm.
So they got years to catch up on, but I think they've been nailing it. Outside of the original, outside of the first women's Royal Rumble, which I didn't mind the outcome, but I didn't think it was the right time to introduce Ronda Rousey. I think that kind of spoiled the whole thing. Outside of that, I mean, and Ronda Rousey winning last year, I don't think that they've really missed on it. And I really enjoy the women's Royal Rumble just for you never know what's going to happen. I like the surprises, and we're going to dig into it. I mean, some of these names that I pulled out of my ass are pretty cool that I really hope to see.
The good thing about Rhea Ripley winning, by the way, um, is that it could go one of two ways, obviously, if the champions remain the same.
Mm,
Now, if Bianca Belair somehow remains champion going into WrestleMania, we're going to see a match that a lot of people really want to see. Rhea Ripley versus Bianca
mm,
Belair, basically the heart and soul of NXT just a couple of years ago. They really were the mainstays, Baszler and all that. So we could get Rhea and Bianca on Monday Night Raw, or Rhea could challenge Charlotte Flair, much like Charlotte Flair challenged Rhea Ripley just 3 years ago in 2020, the beginning of the Thunderdome era, where Charlotte Flair won that NXT Championship off of Rhea Ripley. Rhea could seek revenge and be the face of
yeah,
SmackDown and bring Judgment Day over there. Maybe they could split shows, much like the Bloodline. So that's a possibility. But back to that BT Sport thing I was talking to you about, and then we got sidetracked on that. Rhea Ripley, they say, will be the first lady to eliminate 10 other competitors in a women's Rumble match. Now, obviously we both have her winning. Do you think this is a feat that is possible?
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at who outside of Raquel Rodriguez, who else would it be?
Hmm. Yeah, and we both agree Raquel's not quite ready. Just overall.
Now, maybe next year we could be talking about something different.
All right. They also, while we're on the topic, BT Sport also saw potentially a Jay White showing up at the Rumble from the men's side of things. Also has The Rock showing up and winning. I
Mhm.
can't disagree with that. And also the potential of it's only been about a month or so, but she's been teasing a dark, eerie side, Dark Asuka, a version of her that was prior to WWE, Japan, and so
Mhm.
on. So, uh, thoughts on seeing a darker, obvious heel Asuka? I personally like the sound of that.
Oh, I would love to see it. I would love to see where it's just rough because if they can have a balance between a darker side of her, but still keep her in a babyface role as of who she faces. Because
Hmm.
you gotta, I mean, there's like we talked about, even on SmackDown, but on Raw as well. It's so heel heavy that it's just like, where do you go from here? But I mean, there's opportunities for other people, so I guess we'll see. But I would love to see an Oscar shakeup. She's been the same character for so long.
She has, she really has. So I think it would be best for all involved to see it for a darker side to Asuka, which would hopefully lead to a push in 2023 as well. Get that girl some
Yeah.
gold. All right, so why don't we start like we did with the men's? Why don't we go right to
Okay.
somebody you'd like to see return at the Rumble? Could be Asuka. Somebody that is signed with the company currently, but that's been out, whether it's injury or some other reason. You have one or two that come to mind?
So I want to definitely see Naomi
Okay.
come back, and I definitely see Naomi coming back, and a Beth Phoenix.
Yeah, she's on my list
Oh,
in a different area. That yep.
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
You have her for a legend?
Yeah, I have her for Hall of Famer. Yeah, that's one Hall of
Okay.
Famer I'd like to
Yeah.
see. The Glamazon.
I mean, I could use her. I could use her as a Hall of Famer if we're thinking like returns. I mean, we haven't seen Mela in a while.
Carmella, that's right. That's right. I know she was they made it public quite a few months ago. She was trying to get pregnant. Her and Corey were trying to
Oh,
get pregnant. So I
mhm.
don't know how that's going. That's obviously a major factor,
Yeah.
determining factor. But hey, look, if she is ring ready, that's some Mella's money, baby. Love to see Mella back
Yeah,
in the fold.
definitely.
All
My
right, so
boss wanted me to say, my boss directly said, I want you to mention Carmella and say that I said it. And I was like, you know what?
oh
I'll
no,
do
no.
that. I won't take credit for it, but I got you. So his pick from deep, my boss, he said he's pulling for Mella to come back.
It's been a couple of days. Shout out to your boss. Are you approved yet for WrestleMania 40, or what's going on with that?
Oh, he said he's coming.
Oh, it's coming. Okay, so I guess that settles it. Perfect. Fantastic. That's what I like to hear. WWE Hall of Famer. So who do you have for that? I have Beth Phoenix, and
I'll
you're
go Beth Phoenix
you're
to
going Beth
or
as well.
Molly Holly. Molly Holly, she's been showing up.
I had that in parentheses. Yeah, right next to it. Molly Holly. I said, and she currently works for WWE, so I said it would be no sweat just to
Exactly, it's
throw her
easy.
out there as well. All right, so Beth Phoenix, Molly Holly, either one's welcome. I would definitely like to see Beth mix it up with Rhea, as I said in the last episode, which would be very interesting. I would hate to see her potentially eliminate our winning
Hmm.
pick here in Rhea Ripley, but obviously she's got some payback on her mind ever since your birthday at Extreme
Yeah,
Rules.
exactly.
All right, let's go to celebrity. What female celebrity would you like to see in this Royal Rumble? It's been a tough one, huh?
I'm still bad. Yeah, I haven't even thought of one. Like I've been thinking, like,
It's okay. It
do you
wasn't
have
easy.
any like female? Yeah, who do you have?
So I went with the super fan, much like Stephen Amell, appreciation for WWE and AEW and all that. I went with Danielle Fishel Karp Topanga.
Topanga Lawrence?
Yeah,
Okay, I like that.
Topanga Lawrence Matthews. Well, she's a big wrestling fan. If you remember Boy Meets World, they had Vader on, they had McFoley on. She's a lifelong
Such a good
wrestling
episode.
fan, bro. Even when the Acclaimed
Yeah.
won the AEW World Tag Titles back in September, she had pictures with Anthony Bowens and so on. So she's a big fan of both companies, WWE and AEW. So I could see that happening. And
That's awesome.
what was funny when I was looking up this, that, and a third. Of course, I hop on their Wikipedia pages. Both of my
Mhm.
celebrity picks. You're not going to believe this one. Not only do both my celebrity picks have May birthdays, they were both born in 1981. Is that crazy or what?
Okay.
They're both 41. Stephen Amell, he's May 8th, and Danielle Topanga, she is May 5th. So she's Got 3 days on him. I said, look at that. So I said, maybe it's written in the stars here to see Amel and Topanga. So those are my picks. I think much more of a long shot is Topanga. That's the best I could come up with.
Yeah. Listen, I don't mind it. I mean, that's a pretty good pick. I mean, if you had to pick of one, I mean, a
Pick a
celebrity
celebrity,
board, like
yeah.
how many have we had? Yeah,
Because the thing is too, like how many celebrities, female celebrities at that are really going to mix it up, even if it's for like a couple spots.
exactly.
Yeah, was Snooki, obviously not in the Royal Rumble, but she was in a match at WrestleMania, right? Years back, pay-per-view
Yep.
or something like that.
Hmm.
Maria Menounos, that I know she usually does a backstage commentary for a lot of the bigger shows. She's a big
Yeah.
fan as well. But when I was
Hmm.
looking, those are like some of the names that resonated, and I was like, oh, it's not going to be them. But if I had to pick one, this was definitely the toughest one. A female celebrity.
Oh yeah,
I got to go
easily.
to Topanga all day.
I
Let's
love
move
it.
over to the NXT women. Who are a couple women you see coming up for the Royal Rumble?
So actually, a former tag team. I have Nikita Lyons, of course, and Zoe Stark.
Zoe Stark, right? Well, right. Well, Nikita Lyons is a baby face, and Zoe Stark is a heel.
Hmm.
Um,
She turned on her, right? They weren't they a tag team, and then she turned on her.
yeah, Stark turned on her a couple of months ago. So I have some breaking news here
Hmm.
for you, Justin. You're not going to like this.
Oh,
Sit down, brace yourself, take a swig of a sweet tea. This one's going to hurt. You ready?
okay. No.
Nikita Lyons, Tuesday night, was attacked by an unknown person in the parking lot of the Performance Center. Apparently, this is an angle to write her off of television. Following the show, she took to Twitter to announce a torn ACL and meniscus. So, Nikita Lyons, bro, she goes, listen to
Well,
this. I know, this is tough. You're going to have to, throw down another cup of. I hope you got more sweet tea on hand because one of your picks has just been removed
I'm
before the
switching.
Rumble. You're switching. He's going to the heavy stuff, brisk. She goes, this comeback is personal. Thank you to all who consistently show love and genuine support. It means the world to me. I was going to read this regardless if you picked it or not. I had it on deck. Those of you who don't see the
Oh
vision,
man.
thank you too. Stay your ass right there. This is just another life lesson. Another lesson life needed to teach me. Love, Nikita. So you know what Zoe Stark says? Because obviously they're not, friends anymore. Zoe Stark retweets that and says, don't worry, fans will find another ass to stare at. Now, although this may be true, we're still going to miss her. I know you will because it was one of your picks. You wanted to see her in the Rumble. Zoe Stark's a good pick. By the way, she also had a birthday on Wednesday. Michelle McCool, Zoe
Okay.
Stark, and of course, the late, great Jay Briscoe. So,
Well, I guess I'm going to switch it now. So I did have a backup,
all right.
and she's very young. So I would love to see her on there. Her name is what's her? Oh my goodness, she's a cheerleader.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I know. She's with Chase U. She's with Chase U.
Exactly, her.
I would like
She's
to
just
see
only
her.
19. I just Neil. Last name is Neil.
I know. Yeah, I forget her first name, but I know exactly who you're referring to. That's a good one. That's definitely a one
She
that you
just
wouldn't think of that came out the
she
blue.
just got her first win.
Good for her.
Like they had this whole like thing about it, yeah.
Good for her.
And now Chase U is beefing with McDonough. So
Well, look, Nikita Lyons. There's the update. Unfortunately, she's going to be out for a while, the better part of 2023, which sucks. Justin's chugging a brisk like he never has before. It's hitting him. It's hitting him where it
exactly.
hurts, brother. We're going to get through this. Zoe Stark is also a name I had. Zoe Stark's a
Okay.
great. That's a great pick on both of our behalves. I think we'll see her in there. I'm also picking Tiffany Stratton, who just returned to NXT. I know we spoke about her last week.
Ooh.
WWE is
Yeah, I was
very
thinking her too.
WWE is very big on her. Whether people think she's good in the ring or
Yeah.
not, she's beautiful. And again, I don't want to be, say it's the replacement of a Mandy Rose just because she's a beautiful
Hmm.
blonde, even though Mandy Rose was a brunette quite for most of the time in NXT. But anyway, I see Tiffany Stratton definitely being somebody that's in the Rumble just for a little bit. Somebody that the main roster, especially the fans, obviously, are like, oh, who's this? So they might want to make them tune into
Hmm.
NXT because of her. Who is this up and coming
Yeah.
prospect? So because she's been slightly repackaged. And again, I had two honorable mentions for the men's NXT as well. I did the same for women. Zoe Stark, Tiffany Stratton are my two selections, but my honorable mentions are Alba Fire and Indy Hartwell.
I was gonna
So
say Indy Hartwell too.
yeah, Indy Hartwell was in the
Um,
mix, but I thought the
Alba
other two.
Fire's good.
Yeah,
Alba Fire's good. She just lost to she just lost recently, right?
Yeah, she's been feuding with Isla Dawn. I don't know who her most recent match
Hmm.
was though. I haven't really caught up on the last few episodes since their New Year's Evil event.
Gotcha.
By the way, they're going to be touring for the first time in 3 years. NXT, their next pay-per-view, premium live event,
That's
Vengeance Day.
awesome.
It's in North
Oh
Carolina,
yeah. Really? Oh yeah, it's in Charlotte.
Charlotte. Yeah, February 4th. It's a
It's at
Saturday, I
Spectrum
believe.
Center.
Yes, that's
Hmm.
correct. That's correct. Have you seen them like promoted out there at all, or just like yeah,
Yeah, I've seen it's been talked about.
like on the
I'm
radio and
not
stuff like
driving
that?
3.5 hours.
No, I know it's
Yeah,
a
I'm
hike
not
from you.
driving 3.5 hours for an NXT,
Yeah, I know it's a hike for you. Well,
but
look,
you
If
know,
Tiffany if Tiffany Stratton is strutting her stuff, I'm telling you, it might be worth the drive and the price of admission. I'm just saying, bro.
I'm I mean if Nikita Lyons in her ACL, I mean
Let's go to the final bit of this women's Royal Rumble. Why don't we go to the non WWE talent slash Forbidden Door side of things? Who are a few names that you could see appearing in this women's Royal Rumble?
so I have three names, two of which are a little more obvious, and the other one, like Will Ospreay, is super far fetched, but you can always hope. So I have Chelsea Green. We talked Matt Cardona, her husband.
Hmm.
Chelsea Green, who apparently has been in catering to just don't have anything for her. She's been signed. We just haven't been able to really see her. So I have Chelsea Green, someone who has recently been in AEW, but was also on Main Event and fought Dana Brooke. I have Kylie Ray.
That's a good one. Okay.
Um, Kylie Ray, she tried out, and I guess we'll see what happens. Hopefully, she gets the shine. And then last year we had Mickey James, knockout champion at Impact. I'm
Hmm.
going with a former knockout champion in Jordan Grace as my far fetched long shot that I would love to see.
Okay, so you have Chelsea Green, Kylie Ray, and Jordan Grace. Wow, look at that. That's very good. I only have one of those names, being Chelsea Green. Those are two very good names. Very good names. Not ones I obviously picked, but I like that. I really
Mm-hmm.
do like that. Again, I went with Chelsea Green, obviously the wife of Matt Cardona. Not only that, but I could see for the second year in a row, Mickey James, who just won back her Impact,
Mm-hmm.
or shall I say, Knockout World Championship. Um, she is a total 11-time world champion between WWE and Impact. I could see her strutting her stuff coming down the aisle for a second consecutive year, evening out that couple ratio yet again. Matt Cardona, Chelsea Green, Nick Aldis, Mickey James. So I think those are two
Mm-hmm.
couples we're going to see in each respective Royal Rumble. She defeated Jordan Grace at Hard to Kill a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
So I'd love to see even whatchamacallit, Jordan Grace's husband in it, Jonathan Gresham, who recently signed the
Jonathan Gresham. Yep.
Ring of Honor champion. That would be another. That's somebody, not somebody who came to mind, but now you mentioned her name, that'd be another great addition to the men's Royal Rumble. And that was a career versus title match too, by the way. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm. I didn't know.
Between Jordan Grace, yeah, Mickey James was set to retire if she didn't win that match against Jordan Grace, which I honestly thought Mickey was done for. I thought that was it. She was hanging it up, but hey, look, we'll see what happens. So I think we could see Mickey come back as an Knockouts champion yet again at the Rumble. And then I also have another champion, former WWE star appearing at the Royal Rumble, Kyrie,
Kyrie. Yep.
the IWGP Women's Champion, who I think will lose to Mercedes Moné next month, but that's not
Mercedes
important.
Monet.
Yeah.
She was my honorable mention. Her and Tessa Blanchard. Those are my two honorable mentions.
Okay. Tessa Blanchard. Yeah. So is she back to wrestling yet? I know she's
Mm-mm.
caused quite the stir the last 3 or 4 years.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I don't know. There's some you never know. You never know. So she's been out of the game for so long, and yeah. But those are my two honorable mentions, Kyrie. But I wasn't sure exactly if they'd bring her, but for some reason, Jordan Grace has been. And this is me not really following up with Impact. I thought she was still the knockout champion. So that's why I picked her. After doing some research, I found out she wasn't, but I was too far gone. So I kind of just continued to go with it.
Right.
Um, I've always been a fan of her work. Um, so that's who I was going with. And if it happens, I would love it.
I'd be all
I would
for it
love for them
too.
to switch it up.
A Royal Rumble match is something where she would absolutely dominate. And I know that, her being an outsider in Impact, they wouldn't allow her to have the elimination record. Like we're thinking
Yeah.
maybe it's going to be a Rhea Ripley or even a Raquel Rodriguez. But she has had the most amazing in pro wrestling, the most amazing body transformation over the course of the last 3 or 4 years, even more
Hmm.
so than Braun Strowman. And Strowman has done a phenomenal job of turning into what he is today. We see on TV, but
Yeah.
Jordan Grace, she always posts these before and after photos, man, and she is in the best shape of her life by a long
Hmm.
shot. I'm sure it doesn't hurt having Gresham as your husband. He's a friggin' workout freak as well. He looks like
Oh
he doesn't
yeah.
have an ounce of body fat on him either, but the Royal Rumble match, long story short, is made for a woman like Jordan Grace. So that is a really good pick. Probably my favorite pick out of the three I even mentioned myself. Want to see Mickey again for selfish reasons. Chelsea should return. And Kyrie, it'd be nice to see her back in WWE with the New Japan belt. So we'll see. We'll see about that. So that pretty much sums up our women's Royal Rumble coverage, right? Is there anything
Hmm.
else you'd like to add as far as the women are concerned? Because I think we touched upon everything realistically regarding their match.
No, I think we're good. I mean, we really went in depth in both matches. I think if we look back on our prediction show from last year, I think we're doing a little bit more with it, which, I appreciate. Um, it gives we're more in depth and we're being more specific with our
Yeah,
with what we think. So it's more like bold predictions that we're hoping happens, and I like that. It kind of builds more fire to the excitement that we're having for it. So, you
big time.
know, I think how we covered both of these is really good, and
So
I'm excited for both matches. Like it's going to be such a good show,
you know, it's
especially the
funny.
first Royal Rumble under Triple H's regime. I mean, we talk about it all the time. I'm stoked.
It's funny because before we got on air, you go to me and you're like, dude, there's 5 matches. We're used to covering 10, 12, me with
Hmm.
Kevin or Anthony in AEW 15. And we had 5 matches. We thought this might be the quickest episode in Turnbuckle Topics history from a prediction standpoint. And here we are, probably upwards or well over an hour now, just on two
Oh yeah,
matches, just 2 matches realistically, and that's fine.
exactly.
But it is funny how we, really piece things together, and how we broke things down at the very same time. So before we get to each said title match on the men's and women's side of things, why don't we get to the match that I know you're very much anticipating, as are many people, because this is Bray Wyatt's first uh, match, specifically premium live event match in over 2 years
Hmm.
on WWE television. Let's talk about this singles match. Mountain Dew Pitch Black match, they're calling it. We don't really know what to expect. Bray Wyatt versus LA Knight. Who do you have? And do you have any idea what this match might entail?
All I heard was LED lights. That's all that I heard from about this match. Other
Okay.
than that, I have no idea what it's going to be.
Yeah,
Um,
me neither.
More so or not, I'm thinking it's going to be more theatrical. Look at how WWE has handled maybe like the Boneyard match, the Firefly Funhouse match. I think it's going to be something along those lines, something more theatric, something to tell a story. Um, I'm excited for it because it's definitely something different. It's something fresh, and I know this is something from the mind of Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're giving him creativity on a stipulation on a gimmick match. I think it's going to be a home run. I think it's a good way to introduce him back. But like I was saying, I think this is good storytelling. And with that, that comes to my prediction. And Bray Wyatt will not win this first match back. He will not.
Okay.
I have Bray Wyatt losing to Mister L.A. Knight. Yeah.
Yeah, I was waiting for the yeah.
Yeah, I got LA Knight winning. Because at the end of the day, Bray doesn't lose anything by losing. Nothing. No, he doesn't. This doesn't hurt him. He's so over, and there's so much more to tell. Considering we have no idea who Uncle Howdy is,
Hmm.
and I think Uncle Howdy's the reason he's not going to win. And I
Okay.
think that's going to be the distraction that is going to cost him the match. So I'm going LA Knight. I feel like this will be a good push for him to see where he goes from here. And
Hmm.
yeah, I'm going LA Knight.
All right. Well, hey, look, I think on the flip side of that, I think LA Knight loses nothing from this. If he is to
Hmm.
take the L to Bray Wyatt, um, I don't know if I'd go as far as to say must win, but I think it is necessary. So I am going to go with Bray Wyatt on winning his return match after, again, it's been a couple of years now. And yeah, I'm curious to see what this match entails. Like you said, maybe LED lights or something. If we could take it back to his Fiend character just a couple of years ago, the only thing I didn't like about the Fiend is that during a lot of the matches was the red lights onto the ring. I think that took away
Hmm.
from it. Not the importance, but just viewing a match, the ring in red lights just wasn't appealing at all.
Hmm.
It's one thing to look through a red Hell in a Cell cage at Hell in a Cell pay-per-views. All right, you could get over that, but it's already dark as it is. Then they're wrestling, so you're kind of hoping the match is brief. But anyway, I'm interested to see what this is going to be like, and I'm going Bray Wyatt. Final answer.
I'm not mad at it. I feel like it's going to be a good match either way. I feel like the only bad thing that could happen, and I
Mhm.
would feel bad for the fans, is if they're anticipating the fans to have their camera lights on their phones the whole time on. Because if that's like the second match, I mean, your phone's going to die before the men's Royal Rumble. So
Yeah,
let's hope that that's not what they're hoping and anticipating, unless they give everybody a portable charger as they walk in.
yeah, and then we'll know what. Well, then they'll definitely know what to expect.
Yeah,
So we'll see what happens. But you go LA Knight. I'm going Bray Wyatt. Final answer.
yeah.
We don't know what to. Yeah, exactly. We don't know what to expect. But what we can expect is a very eerie, creepy Alexa Bliss to go after that Raw Women's Championship of Bianca Belair's. Is Alexa Bliss going to be the new Raw Women's Champion? Be the Raw Women's Champion for the first time since 2018 after Saturday night?
Yes.
Okay, I have heard this the last couple of days too. But
I have Alexa Bliss winning with the help of Uncle Howdy. He's doing double duty this weekend, and shout out to him, whoever
busy
he is.
weekend,
Bo
busy
Dallas.
weekend for Uncle Howdy, Bo Dallas.
Busy week, Bo Dallas.
Yep.
I have Alexa winning, and I have her winning for the sheer fact that 9 times out of 10 they like to keep the champions on each show different in their personas
Hmm.
as a heel and a babyface. Bianca has had such a great run, but I feel like if she's gonna lose to anybody, it's gonna be Alexa right now. They really want to jumpstart her back. Um, and if they're going to play on where this is going with whether it be her alongside Uncle Howdy or the start of the Wyatt Six, however they're going to go about it, I think this is the best catalyst for her. I think she has floundered so much in trying to figure out who she is
Hmm.
since what happened last time with Bray, that it's about time for her to really get her shine. I have Alexa Bliss winning.
So I have no problem with Alexa Bliss winning, becoming champion, Bianca being dethroned per se. However, the road to WrestleMania, I would rather see whomever it's to. I'd rather see Bianca lose it at WrestleMania. Whether
Yeah.
whether it's to Rhea Ripley, whether it is to a rematch with Alexa Bliss, I'm going Bianca Belair here. But the main reason is I think there's going to be some kind of interference, whether it is Uncle Howdy, whether it's a video package, something comes up on the screen, distracts Alexa, Bianca gets the job done. You're right. Alexa is due for gold. It's been almost 5 years in August, right? It'll be 5 years in August since she hasn't held gold, since she had all the
Mhm.
concussions and stuff like that. So, in short, Bianca Belair and Rhea is also a match I really want to see. Um, Again, take place at WrestleMania from a selfish standpoint. Another reason why I'm hoping that Bianca retains and just holds on a little bit longer. As soon as April comes, I'm good. Bianca's had a great couple of years ever since winning the Royal Rumble in 2021, being a Raw Women's Champion, a SmackDown Women's Champion, defending it against numerous great stars on both rosters. So Bianca Belair, I got her retaining. And now I see why you said earlier that you see a lot of difference of opinion. And you're right. You're right.
You know that whatever you pick for Bianca, the opposite happens, right?
What do you mean? Which one?
You always pick either if you pick against her, she wins. If you pick like because there was a point where we were continuously picking against her, and I was only picking against her is because I wanted to be wrong.
When did I ever pick against Bianca?
You've
Other than
you've
Becky,
definitely
maybe
picked
once.
no, you've definitely picked against her before. Oh man, I feel like you didn't have her winning at WrestleMania last year,
WrestleMania. Who'd she go up against?
Becky, right?
Was it Becky Lynch that she fought at Mania? Yeah, right, because she defended it again at SummerSlam, and that was the end of their feud, correct?
But Becky was the champion.
Yeah, Becky was the champ because she had held it since
SummerSlam.
right. SummerSlam, and then she had to switch titles because Charlotte went to SmackDown, and right, Becky went to Raw. I got to go back and check the tape here. I'm pretty sure my girl, the EST of WWE.
Oh,
I'm
I
all,
love her.
I
I'm
know you love
always
her
a big.
too. Your daughter loves her. I love her. My daughter loves her or throws a doll around the house. We all love Bianca here. That's why I find it so hard for me to pick against her. I know I've picked against her at least once with Becky, but I have a hard time
I
conceptualizing
think
you
it's
going
been more
against
than once.
Bianca.
I
You
think it's
must be
more than once.
confusing this for Ronda Rousey, Liv Morgan feud.
Oh yeah, maybe I am. Oh yeah, we always picked against Liv, and she always just
Yeah,
seemed to
yeah.
win.
That
Oh,
that that I can get behind, but I don't think
maybe I'm getting them switched, but
yeah,
I
I
think
don't pick against Bianca much, but I can see this happening. I'm just personally hoping it doesn't happen.
I agree. Like I would love Bianca to win and go with that feud
Right.
against a Rhea Ripley, even though I think it would make more sense for Rhea Ripley to kind of get her payback on a babyface Charlotte. I mean, while it's there, because she'll be heel in like 6 months anyway.
Yeah, I think that's a major telltale sign
Hmm.
if Alexa does defeat Bianca, that of course if Rhea wins that Rumble, she's got to go for Charlotte. It wouldn't
Yeah,
make my who wants to see her go up against Alexa at that point. They've already didn't they already cross paths last year when Rhea was a face
they were
or
tag
something
team,
like that.
weren't
They
they?
were
No, that was Liv.
that was Liv. Yeah, that was Liv. They may have crossed paths, but needless to say, at this very point in time, Rhea and not to say two heels can't go to war at WrestleMania,
Yeah,
but we would have Rhea and Alexa both heels on Raw. I don't see that making much sense, especially now that Charlotte's being pushed babyface on SmackDown. Rhea Charlotte would make a hell of a lot of sense if we don't see her and Bianca go at it.
the two dark characters. Who knows? I mean, it could make sense.
Yeah, no, I'd be here for the ride. I just think from WWE standpoint and mindset, I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
I don't see that. But very
I guess we'll
interesting
see.
pick. But
Yeah,
EST is going to win. EST is going to win.
I guess we'll see.
Let's go to this main event match. Universal Championship, WWE Championship, the undisputed champion, the head of the table, the tribal chief, Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman. It's going one-on-one with Kevin Owens here. Now, you got to remember here, my man, this is not the first time that these two have crossed paths. This is the third time they're wrestling at the Royal Rumble. Do you know that?
I thought it was the second. I remember the first time. That was very, very early in Roman Reigns' reign.
Yeah.
And that was 2020, right?
Yeah, the 2021. 2021, there's Stone
2021.
Thunderdome.
Yeah, 2021. That's what I meant.
So we're going to take it back to 2017. Kevin Owens was the Universal Champion.
Hmm.
This was a no disqualification match for the Universal Championship. Chris Jericho was suspended above the ring in a shark cage.
Shark Cage.
This match went about 23 minutes, and Kevin Owens retained.
Because Chris Jericho got out, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I'm trying to remember how the finish went, but I know that much is so. He won the first one. Second time around, as you alluded to, 2021 Royal Rumble. Roman Reigns comes out, Universal Champion. At this point, he's been Universal Champion for the better part of 5 months. This
Hmm.
was a last man standing match. I remember that vividly. This one,
Yep.
again, went almost 25 minutes. Roman Reigns, obviously being the heel, the Universal Champion with Paul Heyman, defeated Owens. They're split.
Yep.
Now they're split. It seems like, both champions retained, and that seems to be the trend here. My next question to you is that going to remain to be the case? Will Roman retain when it's all said and done, or is Kevin Owens going to get it done? Does Sami Zayn interfere? Is he accidentally help Kevin Owens? Does he do it intentionally? What do you got here?
I have Reigns winning. But I say that confidently, but how the match goes, I honestly have no idea. I have no idea how it goes with Sammy. I was driving home and I was thinking about it. Um, I was thinking possibly like he asked Sammy to do something, and instead of Sammy like interfering, he kind of just walks out on him,
Okay.
and which can still, Reigns can still win after that.
Hmm.
Solo Sokoa can interfere, something like that. Um, I'm not sure exactly how it's going to play out, but I don't see, as much as I would love to see KO um, win gold, and I think that that's in his future within the next year or so. Um, I do not see Roman Reigns losing at Royal Rumble. I don't see it till at least WrestleMania, like we've alluded to.
Yeah, I mean, whether it's Roman Reigns and The Rock, whether it's Roman Reigns and Cody, whether by a long shot or not, whether it's Roman and Sammy,
Hmm.
it just doesn't make sense. Roman losing any title at this moment in
No,
time.
absolutely not.
We'll see what's presented to us in the weeks to come, leading to Elimination Chamber in
Hmm.
February. Obviously, there's no premium live event in March, I believe. But then, of course, we have WrestleMania the first weekend in April. Of course, I'm going with Roman Reigns too. That's where we both agree. We only agree where it's
Mm-hmm.
the R's, right? Rhea Ripley, Roman Reigns. Everything else, we're on
Rhea Ripley,
opposite
Roman
ends of the
Reigns.
spectrum here.
Yeah.
But that's who we got to go with here. I think it makes the most sense. I love to see KO win just as much as you or anyone else would. More
Mm-hmm.
times than not, I'm cheering for him. He hasn't won gold in a while, namely Universal Championship. He lost to Goldberg.
Yeah.
Fastlane 2017, hasn't seen it since, but never been WWE champion either. But hopefully his day will come for one of those titles again. But it won't be Saturday night. And again, and still
And
undisputed
still,
WWE Universal Champion, the head of the table, Tribal Chief Roman Reigns, and that's it. That's the 5 match card. That's it there. Um, let's talk about a couple legends who never won the Rumble, the actual men's
mm-hmm.
Royal Rumble match, and then I think that pretty much should wrap things up here. Eddie Guerrero, Kane,
Mm-hmm.
Mick Foley, right? He never won in any of his personas. Cactus Jack, Mankind, Dude Love, obviously. Chris Jericho, Kurt Angle, Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, Jeff Hardy. Out of these 8 men, you can even give me 2 if you like, if you have a hard time deciding who's one that you think should have won, even if it comes down to a specific match over the years that you think it should have been their year, should have been their moment.
I think Eddie Guerrero would have won if he didn't die. I think that was set up for him. And Ray kind of took it and ran, which made sense. I think it was a good homage to him. I think Eddie Guerrero, Kane is one of those. He's one of those people who you never needed him to win the Royal Rumble. You just
Mm-hmm.
needed him to, fuck
Dominate.
shit up.
Yeah,
Exactly,
eliminate
dominate.
people, right?
Um, CM Punk, that did when he was so big,
Mm-hmm.
he went what 2 Royal Rumbles where he was the champion.
Right.
So during his reign, so CM Punk doesn't really surprise me. Jeff Hardy never really spoke to me because he's another high flyer little guy, which
Yeah.
you never really see those. Um, Now, are there people that I would have loved to see them replace? Yes. I don't think I didn't like Alberto Del Rio winning the 40 man Royal Rumble. I thought that could have been given to somebody else. I think Chris Jericho winning would have been great, but Chris Jericho went in with there was always a plan. Like when he started second,
Mm-hmm.
that was when Edge came back, and and they had that beef, and that was a storytelling. Chris Jericho is there to tell stories to really build up what's going to happen with him at WrestleMania, or he was a champion. Out of the other names you said, I mean, am I surprised? I mean, Daniel Bryan kind of was overshadowed, but he ended up winning the championship that year that Batista won anyway.
Yeah, right. The fans were so raucous about it, right? Hell,
Um,
CM Punk quit. Oh, that was one of the reasons he ended up. We didn't see Punk after the 2014 Royal Rumble because of that,
yeah.
or one of the many
Mm-hmm.
reasons as to why he was unhappy.
But I mean, outside of that, I'm just trying to think like
On a whim, I'm going to
who.
go Chris Jericho. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah,
It's just one of those names, and they're all amazing storied careers, but it's just one of those where no particular year comes to mind. But I'm just saying somebody I would have thought, oh, yeah, Chris Jericho, of course he's won the Royal Rumble. What do you mean? It's just one of those.
yeah.
But again, Mick Foley and those guys, even Kane, who it would have been nice to see, it's not somebody that necessarily comes to mind where you necessarily feel like they got to win it or will win it,
Hmm.
but will cause hella damage and chaos
Oh yeah,
when they're in there.
yeah. Like when you see him come out, you know that it's gonna get real,
Yeah.
and then you always have that one person who's gonna go up against him. And I mean, there's gonna be moments like that. I mean, we've seen Braun Strowman fight Omos, but Omos is gonna be one of those guys who's gonna be hard to get out of the ring.
Yeah.
I'm just excited to see big meaty men slap meat.
God damn it. There's only one way you could save this. It's a great time for what?
It's a great time to be a fan of professional
All
wrestling,
right,
man.
let's take it home before things get really out of control. The sweet tea's pouring over there. The brisk he's cracked. He hasn't recovered since that Nikita Lyons injury report. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen.
Still upset.
One thing I am happy to see, though, that's very unfortunate about Nikita Lyons. By the way, whenever you hear Nikita Lyons, doesn't it remind you of the show that came on after Monday Night Raw in the late '90s?
Let's have Nikita. Oh
Right?
yeah,
Oh, it's right there, man, right there. I would love to
it's right there.
find out her story as to why she got that name.
Let's have
Anyway,
Nikita Lyons.
yeah, I think that'd be great. So Ric Flair, I'm sure you read the report by now at Raw 30. mended things with Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins. Of course, they had their controversies over the past couple of years, not just because Charlotte and Becky don't get along anymore, but because that whole the
The
man
man.
copyright infringement or I want this and such and whatever. Anyway, Ric Flair said on his most recent podcast, To Be the Man podcast, he says, I apologize to Becky Lynch. I walked up to her and said, may I speak with you for just a minute? And I said, look, I'm sorry that this got to where it is. And then I also went over to Seth Rollins, shook his hand, and said, I'm on my way to apologize to your wife. So look, I'm glad that they're burying
Yeah.
burying the hatchet, letting bygones be bygones. My goodness, life's too short. And it wasn't that serious. Again,
It was petty. It was petty.
it was petty. And whether you like Seth and Becky or not, I do like them. I like Ric Flair and Charlotte as well. I like all of them. But
Yeah.
Ric Flair can get in his ways sometimes. If you said, the word ego, one wrestler that comes to mind, you're probably going to say Ric Flair or Hulk Hogan,
Yeah,
easily
exactly.
off the top. Two greats, don't get me wrong. Many would put on their top four Mount Rushmores, but regardless, obviously, Rick, more times than not, lets his ego get in the way. So I'm glad. I was very happy to, A, hear that. I saw the video from his podcast, and then B, read it as well. It was all over the internet, too.
Yeah, and I hope that down the line goes down to Becky and Charlotte kind of burying the hatch.
Yeah.
You've been when you're friends for so long, you just have a disagreement, and you add on other things that anger you. Like, listen, this is how my father looks at you, and if Rick can bury the hatchet, I'm hoping Charlotte can too.
Right.
Just that was your best friend. You guys grew up together in the WWE.
We don't know what completely goes on behind closed doors. I'd
Hmm.
like to say that Charlotte does. Fortunately or unfortunately, obviously these things work for the better too. It's good to be a confident person, a great performer, but I also feel like it trickles down a little bit too to Charlotte Flair, where she can kind of get in her own way at times too. Her
Oh
competitive,
yeah,
her
easily.
competitive spirit, her competitive nature. I'm not solely blaming Charlotte for why her and Becky have issues and aren't best friends anymore, but I do
Hmm.
think Becky's rise to prominence in late 2018, 2019, and beyond really got to Charlotte, especially when Becky and Ronda were well on their way to main eventing WrestleMania 35, first women's main event ever for WrestleMania.
Hmm.
Obviously, Charlotte was able to throw her hat in the ring. Vince slapped the SmackDown Women's Championship on Charlotte, taking it off of Asuka weeks before WrestleMania. So I think a lot of that comes into play here if you think about it. So
Oh
I
yeah.
hope all that aside, I mean, God, Charlotte's had a storied career already. She's only been on the main roster it's not even been 8 full years.
Hmm.
Summer of 15 or whatever. So look, hopefully one day they're able to get over that hump as well. Now, before we wrap up here, is there anything you would like to add? And last thing, I'm going to have you wrap up here, but the last thing I wanted to mention is, what do you think? This report came out recently. WWE is considering Bray Wyatt to be the number one babyface on SmackDown. When I saw this is another reason I felt very strongly about him defeating
Hmm.
LA Knight. But how do you feel about that?
I feel I feel a little confused, and I mean, but then again, you look at the roster that SmackDown has, and you got Bray, and if you want to push him as the number one babyface when there's no like outside of when Roman Reigns is like the main heel, I'm not mad about it, but it's going to be hard for me to believe that those two are going to fight down the road. Because there's a lot of people who don't want to work with Bray just because the style of his matches kind of deter like whatever momentum that person has. So
Right.
I
It's not
do
like he's unsafe or anything like that. It's
yeah,
just right.
exactly. I do like Bray as a top baby, but it goes back to what we were saying. Like if they're gonna make Drew heel, I get it, but I mean Drew's just held it down since the pandemic. It's hard to not see him as the number one baby face, but then again, he's just gonna be a part of the Rumble. Him and Sheamus are just gonna be part of the Rumble. So
Hmm.
um, plus their match tonight where they'll go at it for the in the tag team tournament.
Yeah, number one contenders
So
versus Hit
number
Row.
one
Yeah.
contenders. So, am I mad about it? No. I mean, if they position it correctly to put Bray as that baby face, it's going to be a different feel for it. Because he's going to be more of an eccentric, Firefly Funhouse kind of baby face.
Hmm.
But he does have that mean streak, so he'll also look like a tweener as well. But to go up against the heels of SmackDown, like I said, a Karrion Cross will be a great rivalry down the road, something like that. So it's going to be fun to see how they position it. If they're going to position as just how his persona is right now as a babyface, it's going to be fun to see. Am I mad about it? Nope. I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's very confusing because with all these tendencies that's been happening to him and around him, whether it's Uncle Howdy or Alexa Bliss and himself and his split personality. What, a couple weeks ago he was just assaulting a cameraman, right, during a
Yeah,
promo. So
exactly.
for him to be positioned as a number one babyface, it's all too confusing. But I guess he's just trying to get his demons or whatever he's battling in order here. When you think of number one babyface, I think of an Irishman. I think not Sheamus. I think a Ricochet. I mean, thoughts on that?
I don't
Perhaps
have
he,
any. I don't have any thoughts on it. Please stop.
perhaps, perhaps a Ricochet could join the Brawling Brutes. You never know. Sky's the
Rolling
limit.
Brutes. Those are big meaty men.
Well, and let's take it home. You know how to end the
Listen,
podcast.
you want to go? Let's go.
Hey, look, this has been great, Justin. Honestly, anything you'd like to add before we get out of here and enjoy this good weekend of professional wrestling?
Great weekend for professional wrestling. I hope everybody enjoys Royal Rumble. Any football fans out there, I hope you guys enjoy the conference championships that are going to be great football. Saturday, Sunday, it's going to be such a great weekend for just big, meaty men slapping meat, whether
Oh
it be on the
God.
gridiron or in the
Listen, I'm
ring.
gonna have to
I'm
cut
going
you
to
short there. Cut this guy off. Hit the mute button. Too much iced tea, sweet tea, whatever. Look, who do you have coming out of each conference? Who's going to the Super Bowl?
I have the 49ers. I did have the Eagles, but I do have the 49ers, and
Well,
I do see
I'm
them
glad
playing
you
the
switched
Bengals.
your pick. I'm glad you switched your
I got
pick.
I got the 49ers and the Bengals.
Niners Bengals. Okay. Okay.
Niners Bengals, and man, Joe Burrow's going to lose for the second year in a row in the Super Bowl, but
Wow.
man, is he good. Man, is he good.
With that being said, I like that pick. I really do. I'm gonna go Niners and Chiefs.
Okay.
I think the Chiefs are going to get the Bengals back from last year, booting them from the conference championship,
Yeah.
and I think it may be a very close game. And now that Mahomes is 100% clear, right? Negative X-ray on that ankle, so
Yeah.
that right ankle, so he's good to go. So yeah, I have the Chiefs edging out the Bengals, and we'll see what happens here. Should be good. Looking forward to talking about the Super Bowl in the coming weeks on these Raw
Can't
reviews and
wait. Yeah, man.
Royal Rumble reviews and stuff like that. So again, everybody, thank you for tuning in to yet again the Royal Rumble predictions episode. That is just Justin. I am Pat Deneen. And again, enjoy the show. It should be a great show. We'll see how we fare in these predictions. Again, me and Justin, we're quite split on this episode, with the
Oh yeah,
exception of
definitely.
Rhea Ripley and Roman Reigns, just the only thing we both agreed upon. But looking forward to going over the review in the coming days as well. So thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll catch you next time.